A room with a view of the whole city. Fashion luxury, that's what he's got pretty.
A new opening in Bangkok, a new luxury hotel has launched, and I visited it, and it is indeed the Ritz Carlton Bangkok. Let's get to the details. I was really curious. I was really in a position where I said, why should I wait long, even though in the end I really know that when I go to this hotel, I'm sure it will still smell like paint. It probably won't be finished yet, and it's just such a, well, mixed feeling. But in this case, I wanted to make an exception because many people wrote to me saying, hey, have you been to this new Ritz Carlton yet? I thought, okay, I will go through with it, make a booking, and then I arrived here and can state the following. It is, of course, delightful when you come to the room and find a little bag from the Ritz Carlton on the table. Then I looked inside and thought, a card. So they put a card in this bag, and then the following was written on the card. Dear Con Frank, thank you very much for choosing to stay with us. I'm very happy to have you here. There is a small gift for you. Hope you like it. Thank you. Viva. So Viva gave me a gift. I thought I'll look into the bag. And what could I find in the bag? Nothing. Because dark bag, dark gift. When I looked more closely again, I realized they had put a small gift in the form of a business card holder or credit card holder inside. And greeted me with a little hello and welcome. Viva meant it extremely nicely, of course. And I was happy about it, because at first I thought, where is actually the gift? Speaking of gifts, I came into this room and was surprised. I had a fantastic treatment where I must say, a bottle of Prosecco, along with fine chocolate delicacies, fantastic fruit, and everything really nicely prepared. I can confirm that the guest relations department here in this house does a good job. They want to pamper us guests, especially us members, and from that perspective, the check-in was relatively pleasant. It had this certain speed. This fine, please have a seat here. I'll take care of everything else for you. May I have your credit card? Your details are all pre-entered. And then everything was completed very quickly. We went to the room, I was accompanied, everything was explained to me, and I can say with a late checkout, I also received a small upgrade here because the suites were not available at the moment to a nice deluxe room. Upgraded with a view of the Lupini Park. That made me happy. What do I like about this hotel? Well, I definitely like these beautiful large windows. They thought about the look here by installing large windows. You can sit here in the evening, you can sit here in the morning. The view of the Lupini Park, and above all, yes, also the entire view of Bangkok. It really brings joy when you drink a cup of tea or an espresso here. Then there's a moment when you sit relaxed in the room. It's interesting, of course, that things are confirmed that I had already suspected. That means, firstly, the entire hotel is not yet finished. Only certain floors are open. All other floors are still under construction. And that's a tragedy, I think, because you can hear the work going on here until late at night. And only by expressing very intensely that it bothers me, did they. Interrupt the work, probably also relocate it to another area where no guest complains. Which makes me say it's a tragedy that these hotels, unfortunately, nowadays, when they have new openings, they open even though the hotel is not completely finished yet. That's why there's already a thumbs down for that. The second thing I find really dramatic about new openings is that this smell is still in the building. Here, it is even quite difficult because you come in through the entrance downstairs and you can already smell this construction dust. It's such a very fine dust, also a fine particulate matter, which is firstly bad for our health and secondly very unpleasant because it has such an extreme smell. And when you go upstairs, it is relatively masked by the air conditioning, but you can still smell it on the way to the room, also in the corridors. And unfortunately, also to a small extent, still in the room. This is because, unfortunately, it was not cleaned thoroughly. That is the problem with hotels in general. But with a new opening, it's just that furniture is placed in rooms where work is still being done. And that's why this dust also settles into the furniture. And no one has a really good vacuum cleaner that filters fine dust, especially with a HEPA filter, so that this fine dust does not remain in the room. So you find this fine dust in all the little corners everywhere, which was never properly cleaned. And that is a real tragedy. I think you should normally only enter the room here with a HEPA 3 filter mask. But it is, of course, dramatic that hotels simply do not think about these things, and above all, do not have the right staff who know that when I go to this hotel as a guest, it must not just be superficially cleaned, but it must be thoroughly cleaned. And if that is not the case, you have serious problems. Next, I remember entering the room and finding mosquitoes in the room. So I first had to make sure that I got this room mosquito free. And by the way, this is also a sign that these rooms have never been properly cleaned. This means that when a new hotel opens, all rooms should be thoroughly cleaned, then the furniture vacuumed and placed inside, and then everything treated with a mosquito repellent so that the rooms are really free of small animals. Because we know that a mosquito with the wrong blood can kill us. And that's why it's not a trivial matter. Or one can also become very ill. From this perspective, it's like this. These things are not unimportant. And that's why everyone should always carefully check the rooms to see if there are any mosquitoes or other such things in the room, so that no diseases from other people are transmitted here. But the hotel is, of course, in a fantastic location. In a year, this hotel will certainly be among the top hotels here in Bangkok. If the staff continues to be trained, if there is continued focus on good leadership and above all good management, which also knows that here is, in the future, this is where the big business will be done because it is very centrally located. You can get to Siam very quickly, you can get to Silom. So you basically have a good environment here, and from here to the airport, there are several options. And from that perspective, I really think this hotel has an optimal location, especially in a newly developed area. Everything around here is newly built. New hotels, new shopping malls. This is the number one. So you have here the new first district of Bangkok, newly opened. Even the shopping centers here are not yet finished. Everything is still under construction, but probably for financial reasons, they couldn't wait any longer to open. And that's why they relatively quickly opened hotels and shopping centers. Then opened, there is here in the Ritz Carlton in Bangkok, good domes. They are fun, they have a certain charm, and they come here from other hotels and have certainly made a good contribution to this hotel as a result. Because I think a good doorman is the first moment when I, as a guest, come into contact with the hotel. Then I find the reception well done. I find the entire entrance fantastic. It's a pleasure to enter this hotel. Then you come up to the check-in area. And there too, everything is, in my opinion, well organized, so that you can enjoy and relax as you check into this hotel. The staff are all still at the beginning. Of course, a bit more training is needed, but I think within the next year, everything will gradually fall into place here. And it will accordingly develop into a good hotel in the 5-star segment. I find the design with the scales here in Bangkok well done. It brings me joy. The materials are good. Unfortunately, there's too much plastic. There could have been more real wood. But in the end, that's also something that has to do with practical experience. Of course, it's nicer to live with real wood, but in today's times, everything is presented visually in such a way that you don't notice any difference at first. Unless you touch the material, But the atmosphere in the hotel is nice. It brings me joy to be here, and I truly enjoy every moment. What I absolutely don't like are towels that are new but haven't been washed yet. And just as much, I don't like old towels with love stains that can't be cleaned anymore, which aren't thrown away and are from this side here in the hotel. That means here at the Ritz Carlton, they put out new towels, but they didn't wash them. And they should have done that. You can't just unpack new towels and use them. You have to at least, I would even say, wash them twice, and then you can offer them nicely fresh to the hotel guests. This is here. An absolute no-go. I find it dramatic that construction work is still ongoing in this hotel and that the hotel is being celebrated as a grand opening, yet work is still being done. This drama is truly an affront to us, especially at these prices. The price here for an overnight stay, even during the grand opening period, starts at 500 euros. And I have to say, it's outrageous. It should have cost a maximum of 350 euros initially, because there are still construction works ongoing and many things are not finished. For that, there's another thumbs down. The fact that housekeeping is not yet properly organized can be noticed by the following things. When a new film has a cable winding with a knot that cannot be opened, is that really dramatic? That means it's a mystery to me why hotels either instruct their staff or don't explain to them that it makes no sense to wind up a hairdryer's cable, but it should lie relaxed in the drawer so that I can grab it directly and plug it in immediately. Why they do that, I have no idea. I haven't figured it out to this day after so many years. The answer was always, we always do it this way. Exactly, and that's wrong. What can happen with new hotels is that certain switches don't work yet. Unfortunately, that's also the case here. There were broken switches here. You couldn't press them properly, but one thing works, the electronics are fine, all the lights, and even the curtains work on, off, or closed. And what bothered me a little is that suddenly the curtains close, probably because there's an automatic sun sensor included. As soon as the sun shines on this window, the curtain closes and you have to open it again every time. That's really annoying. Also, with housekeeping, I came in and there was still trash from the previous guest in the bin. I find that very poor as well. This means that there's a lack of a housekeeper who goes through all the rooms in such a luxury hotel afterwards and checks everything. Unfortunately, that's another thumbs down for that. And what I also don't like are stains on the bed. This is a new bed. This bed is 2 months old. The bed linens are 2 months old. But to already find stains on the bed linens, well, I must say, small black stains and yellow stains and other stains, probably even love stains, are not acceptable. I think the housekeeping needs to focus much more intensively on quality. Simply putting a sheet from the laundry onto the bed is not enough. You also need to check afterwards if the sheet is actually clean. And for that, you naturally need a trained eye. So this means that trained personnel are unfortunately still missing here. The air conditioning doesn't really work. You can set it to cooler, but it only goes up to a certain temperature. And then the system stops cooling. That's a shame, because as a guest, I should be given the option to set the heating to hot or cold. And it can't be set in such a way that the hotel might prevent certain settings due to cost-saving measures. What can we say in conclusion about the new opening of the Ritz Carlton in Bangkok? In the future, a beautiful new luxury hotel will emerge here. I assume that the prices will start between 700 to 1500 euros, as there will naturally be a certain booking rate from an international audience. Because people come here quickly for shopping, stay briefly at the Ritz Carlton, and then fly on to the next destination. That means the jet set will be on the move here and will certainly indulge in it. People fly from Tokyo to Bangkok, from Bangkok to Singapore, and then on to Dubai. And so, once around the world, this means that money is no object, and from that perspective, prices will certainly rise. At the moment, as I find it, it's already expensive starting at 500, but I assume that in the future, the price here will continue to go up. The quality will certainly improve. And when I talk about quality, there was one thing I found really good. They have an excellent breakfast at the hotel. Great staff who create a truly wonderful experience for us. And this experience I had during breakfast brought me incredible joy. I sat here with great pleasure, ate, and then had this fantastic view outside. Although, as I find, the music was a bit too loud, it was the right music played, allowing one to relax and have a calm moment. This moment here at the hotel, it was something wonderful during this stay. So, the breakfast is recommended. Now, the following definitely needs to happen. It needs to be cleaned properly. You need fantastic housekeeping here. If this succeeds, if that is achieved, the hotel will become one of the best hotels here in Bangkok because, as mentioned, great location, great building with a fantastic view, beautiful interior, feel-good effect. And I think that the Ritz Carlton here will certainly pose extreme competition to many other older luxury hotels. And those older luxury hotels will really have to make an effort if they don't want to lose their guests to this hotel. And that's why for this grand opening of the Ritz Carlton, there's only a thumbs up and a thumbs down, because it's a shame that the quality expected at a grand opening hasn't been found here yet. And I assumed, even though I already suspected it, I would have wished that the basic cleaning and certain other things would be provided here in the hotel without any issues for us. And the fact that the hotel is not yet finished is unfortunately also a sad announcement. Otherwise, now for you, a room tour through the entire hotel.
Above the clouds, the hunt flies. Every destination brings joy to his eyes. He knows the best hotels, the best